Hello students, this video is about collisions. So this is the topic from the chapter work, energy and power, and we are going to study about collisions now. And first of all, to define collision, so collision means whenever there are two bodies and either they physically collide against each other, or if the path of one get affected by the force exerted by the other, then we say that collision happen. So collision is said to happen, or collision is said to occur between two bodies, right? So we can define collision as that we say collision happen or collision occur, it occur between two bodies if they physically collide against each other. That means they actually hit each other, और वो आपस में टकराएं, that means collision. Collide against each other, or if the path of one object is influenced by the other object, by the force exerted by the other object. So whether they collide against each other, or if the path of one is affected by the force exerted by the other, then we call that collision happen. Now there are many types of collision, so let's see what these are. So for types of collision, we mainly have 6 types. So we have 6 types of collision. First is elastic collision. Second is inelastic or non-elastic collision. Third is perfectly inelastic collision. After that we have explosive or super elastic collision, super elastic, or we call it as explosive. Next one is the head on collision. Now head on collision is one dimensional collision, so we also call it as one dimension collision, that is 1D collision. And the last one is oblique or two dimension collision. So these are the types of collisions we have. So let's start with the first one. So first one is elastic collision, and by elastic collision we mean a collision in which there is no loss of kinetic energy during a collision. So a collision will be an elastic collision if there is no loss of kinetic energy during a collision, then such collision is called elastic collision. If we see the characteristics of elastic collisions, so these are characteristics of elastic collisions are in such collisions momentum remains conserved. So the first characteristic of elastic collision is momentum is conserved. Next is total energy is also conserved. Kinetic energy is also conserved, as there is no loss of kinetic energy, so kinetic energy is also conserved in elastic collision. After that, next characteristic is the mechanical energy in this process is not converted into any kind of heat, light, sound energy, or etc. So basically there is no conversion of mechanical energy into some other form. Mechanical energy into other form of energy. And the last characteristic is the forces that are involved during the collisions are conservative forces. So forces involved are conservative in case of elastic collisions, right? So these are elastic collision. After this we have second type, which is inelastic collision. So inelastic collisions are those in which there is a loss of kinetic energy. If there is no loss of kinetic energy, then it is elastic collision. If there is loss of kinetic energy, then these are inelastic collisions. So for such type of collision, we can say that if there is a loss of kinetic energy, then kinetic energy during a collision, then such collision is called inelastic collision. Now if we see the characteristics of these collisions, so momentum also remain conserved in this case. Momentum is conserved in this case also. Total energy is also conserved. Now the change is in the next point. In case of elastic collision, kinetic energy was conserved, but in case of inelastic collision, kinetic energy is not conserved during the collision. After that, the next property we have, since kinetic energy is not conserved, so we can also say that the next characteristic is some part of mechanical energy is converted into heat, light, or some other form of energy. So the next characteristic is, in such collisions, mechanical energy, not whole but partly, mechanical energy partly get converted into heat, light, sound, etc. Now in elastic collision, in case of elastic collisions, we know that the forces involved were conservative. Now in case of inelastic collisions, the forces involved, either some or all forces that are involved are non-conservative, right? So some or all forces involved during that process, during the collision, are non-conservative. So these are the inelastic collisions characteristics. Now the next one is perfectly inelastic collision. So in this type of collision, the two bodies, those are colliding, that two bodies stick together after the collision and start moving as a single body with a common velocity, then such type of collision is said to be perfectly inelastic collision. So the definition is those collisions in which if two bodies stick together and start traveling just like a single body, as a single body with common velocity, then such type of collision is called perfectly inelastic collision. And in such kind of collisions, momentum is conserved, but there is loss of kinetic energy, and that loss of kinetic energy is maximum in this case. So the property for such type of collisions is the momentum in such case is conserved, but kinetic energy undergoes maximum loss. So there is maximum loss of kinetic energy during such type of collisions. Now the next type we have is superelastic or explosive, right? Superelastic or We also write them explosive collisions. So in such type of collisions, there is a release of potential energy on an impact, and that's why such collisions take place with an increase in kinetic energy. Means these are those collisions in which there is an increase in kinetic energy, and basically in such type of collision there is a release of potential energy on an impact. That's why the kinetic energy of the process of the system increase, and we call such collisions as explosive collisions or superelastic collisions. For example, bursting of a cracker, or the increase in the kinetic energy when that cracker hits the floor forcefully. So that's what we call superelastic or explosive collision. Now the next type is head on or one dimensional collision. So these are the collisions in which colliding bodies move along the same straight line path before and even after the collision. So the colliding bodies that are moving in a straight line path before collision keep on moving in the same straight line path after collision in such type of collisions. That's why we call them as 1D or head on collisions. So we can define such collisions as the collisions in which colliding bodies move along the same straight line path before and after the collision. Such collisions are called head on or one dimension collision. Now the next are oblique or two dimensional collisions. So these are those collisions in which the bodies do not move along the same straight line path but lie in the same plane before and after the collision. So they are in same plane but they are not moving in the same straight line path before and after the collision. Then such type of collision is called oblique or 2D collision, two dimensional collision. So we can say that if two bodies, those two bodies which are colliding, so if two bodies do not move along the same straight line path but lie in the same plane before and after the collision, then such collisions are called two-dimensional or oblique collisions, right? So these are all types of collisions. So these were the types, and in almost every type we said that momentum is conserved. So let's see how linear momentum is conserved in a collision. So we are going to prove that linear momentum conservation in collision. This we are going to prove, and for that we should have two bodies which are colliding. So we are assuming two bodies, body 1 and body 2, right, which collide against each other. So that's why they exert mutual impulsive forces on each other during the collision in time delta t. So the time of collision is delta t, and during this time these two bodies exert mutual impulsive force on each other, and that's why there is a change produced in the momenta of two bodies. There is a change in the momenta of both bodies individually. So the change in the momentum of first body is F12 vector delta t. Now the F12 vector is the force exerted by body 2 on body 1. This is the force on body 1 and it acts for the time delta t. That's why there is a change of momentum delta p1 which is equal to F12 vector delta t. Similarly, delta P2 is equal to F21 vector delta T. That means the force acting on the body 2 because of 1, and it is multiplied by the time delta T. Now, according to Newton's third law of motion, right, according to third law of motion, we know that F12 vector is equal to minus F21 vector. Then F12 vector delta T should be equal to minus F21 vector delta t. Now F12 vector delta t is actually delta p1 vector, right? Delta p1 vector is F12 vector delta t is equal to minus F21 vector delta t is delta p2 vector. So we are taking it to the left hand side and it becomes delta p1 vector plus delta p2 vector is equal to 0, or change in p1 vector plus p2 vector is equal to 0. So for the total momentum the change is 0. That means p1 vector plus p2 vector, since there is no change, so p1 vector plus p2 vector is equal to constant, and since it is constant, this sum is constant. This shows that the linear momentum remains conserved during the collision. Through the forces can vary during the collision, but the linear momentum remains conserved in collision. So that's all about the collision and their types. That's it for the video. For further videos, stay tuned and keep studying. Thank you.